All right. Well, since today is a very intimate group, it's going to be very potent, the conversation, and I think the engagement that we'll have here. For those who are not able to attend today's session, I just want to start off by acknowledging and also recognizing our sponsor, the Environmental Action Committee of West Marin, for sponsoring this year's forum and for the work that they do, protecting and sustaining the unique lands, waters, and biodiversity of West Marin through outreach, education, and engagement. This session is tied to the last series that we had, which was called Building Inner Resilience, a toolkit for addressing climate anxiety. And that last session featured the talk of Dr. Sarah Jaquette Ray. And we heard that the argument that perceiving the climate crisis as an urgent risk can motivate people to act more quickly, which we need. But this logic can also backfire, she said, and lead us to imagine time as limited and reduce our effectiveness at responding to climate change, and even condition us for burnout. And so we were left with a question: how can we balance the advice to move slowly and take a long-term perspective with the need to take environmental action? The intention for today's short session is to practice slowing down. Why? Because in order to embody the hope and inspire others to act as if a sustainable future is possible, we ourselves need to cultivate peace. And so this session is for the environmental advocates who are taking action, but have fallen out of practicing self-care and building inner resilience, which is much needed at this time. And we will know, or you will know, if you benefit from today's session, if and when stressful moments occur, you feel inclined to gently sit and find peace in what is in the moment. However, you may find that the difficult part is getting started. And so we have invited a loving mentor of mine, Elena Brower, to guide us through this practice. Elena is a mama, a teacher, artist, humanitarian, a best-selling author, and host of the Practice You podcast. She has taught yoga and meditation since 1999. She works to elevate bright futures for girls and advance human rights for women. Her first book, Art of Attention, has been translated into 7 languages, and her second, Practice You Journal, is a bestseller. Her third book, Being You Journal, was released in early 2021. Elena has 2 books coming out in 2023, which is really exciting. They're called Nurturing You Journal and Softening Time, a collection of her poetry. Her yoga and meditation classes are on glow.com, and her Essential Mentorship is beloved for bringing analog creativity to online coursework. Her Perceptive Parenting audio course launched fall 2022, and her spoken word work can be heard on Above and Beyond's Flow State albums. Elena, thank you for being with us. You have our attention.
Thank you so much for having me. Arlen, what a pleasure. I want to just jump directly into the heart of the great matter by talking about the 3 tenets of the Zen Peacemaker's Order. I think this is a relevant way for all of us who are doing work on the ground in the world to resource ourselves and to make sure that we have a very simple practice for when things feel overwhelming. These 3 tenets were crafted, let's say, by my teacher along with her teacher, My teacher's a woman by the name of Roshi Joan Halifax. She's 80 years old. She's a treasure on this earth. Her teacher, now passed, Roshi Bernie Glassman, also known as Tetsugen, he started the Zen Peacemakers Order, and Roshi Joan co-founded it, let's say. These 3 tenets will carry you through situations that are harrowing, confusing, chaotic, difficult, from someone's deathbed, pardon me, to the truth of the dear suffering of mostly marginalized people as a result of our climate crisis as it is currently. These 3 tenets, and then we will sit afterwards once we've sort of unpacked them a little bit. Bearing witness, not knowing, and taking compassionate action. We are already in many ways bearing witness to the great catastrophe as it is right now. There are so many ways in which we can create vital, nurturing conversations by being in community. That's what we're doing here. Many things we can't actually change in this moment, but we can change within ourselves. And bearing witness to all of these openings is really a way for us to create within ourselves a level of presence that nobody can shake. Nothing can shake. Not knowing is in some ways the foundation and prior to bearing witness, and in some ways it follows bearing witness, and so I use them interchangeably. We don't know how this is going to turn out. We have a set of facts that we know, but truly we don't know how to predict the future. We can try. The idea that we can be present, choose a collaborative spirit and collaborative action over competition, over negativity, choose mutuality, and still not have the answers. This is a practice, and getting comfortable with that is a practice. Pardon me. The 3rd tenet, taking compassionate action, it is only after a time of not knowing and bearing witness that we can have any understanding of what compassionate action might be. It might be just offering someone a real level of listening that we haven't fully practiced. It might be offering that to ourselves. It might be committing to the fact that we don't know again and again and again, freshly, and that's the compassionate action that I can take in this moment. The compassionate action might just be having a seat, grounding ourselves, taking a breath, so that we can offer our presence freshly again to the situation. So let's do that now. Sense into your body as you take a comfortable seat. You can also do this lying down, of course, as well. And in the tradition in which I practice, Soto Zen Buddhism, we take a glance on the floor about 45 degrees in front of us with our eyes partially open rather than closed. Why? For me, this feels more awake and more alive. I'm more able to offer myself to this feeling of groundedness. I'm more able to release whatever confusion seems to be dominating in my mind at the moment, to keep my eyes open. You get to choose whatever works best for you. And as you inhale, please just lengthen your spine and create a shape and a posture that is supportive of your practice. And as you exhale, let everything settle in your body, as though you were anchoring your attention at the bottom of your mind with this breath out. and feel a sense of very slowly burgeoning stability arriving in your body. You'll notice that thoughts seem to be coming and going at a pretty rapid pace for most of us. And as you begin to see that, I'd like you to just recall your intent for being here today with us, whether you're watching live or into the future. Maybe you're here to resource yourself and create a new level of listening within yourself so that you can continue to do the good work that you are doing. Maybe you're here to discern, ascertain what it is that you would like to be doing to further the conversation around mutuality and support of Mother Earth. Whatever it is, this very unselfish motivation, even if it is about resourcing yourself, it's still unselfish, so you can serve. It's an important part of the practice. And it becomes the fundament on which you build your practice. Continue gathering your attention each inhalation, supportively, and each exhalation, letting it settle. Sensing beneath the rush of thought some level of presence that exists prior to or even beneath all of that activity. And see if you can rest some of your attention there. That sensation of presence. Simple. Similarly, when the urge to have answers, to organize and solve arises, return to the breath, to this practice of not knowing. Take a deep breath in, please. And exhale completely, keeping your body very still. In the book, All We Can Save, one of my favorites, there's a poem called The Anthropocene Pastoral by Catherine Pierce. It turns very dangerous and very compassionate, beautiful, touching. And I'll read this to you as you keep yourself still in your seat. In the beginning, the ending was beautiful. It was early spring everywhere. The trees furred pink and white, lawns the sharp green that meant new. The sky so blue it looked manufactured. Robins. We'd heard the cherry blossoms wouldn't blossom this year, but what was one epic blooming when even the desert was an explosion of verbena? When bobcats slinked through primroses, when coyotes slept deep in orange poppies. On New Year's Day, we woke to daffodils, wisteria, onion grass wafting through the open windows. Near the end, we were eyelidded, we were cottoned, we were sundressed and barefoot. At least it's starting gentle, we said. An absurd comfort, we knew, a placebo. But we were built like that, built to say, at least. Built to reach for the heat of skin on skin, even when we were already hot. Built to love the purpling desert in the twilight, built to marvel over the pink bursting dogwoods, to hold tight to every pleasure, even as we rocked together toward the graying. Even as we held each other, warmth to warmth, and said, sorry, I'm so sorry, while petals sifted softly to the ground all around us. We are committed to not knowing, to doing our best, to bearing witness, and to taking compassionate action both within ourselves and within the communities in which we live. We are committed to ensuring that we have time for our bodies in these pockets of healing silence, where the body's only mission is to do what it came here to do, which is rebalance from the inside. With all of its eternal, innate knowingness. Bring my hands to prayer. If you feel called to do that, you may do so as well. And I bow to you for being here today, for prioritizing your balance, for seeing yourself, walking yourself away from the edge of pathological altruism and back toward a place where you can really serve. Thank you. Thank you very much. That poem always makes me cry. Every time. It's on page 255 of All We Can Save. I'm sure you have that book if you've made it all the way to this Zoom. And I would recommend also getting the study guide too. And I'll be starting a group, an All We Can Save, co-leading an All We Can Save study group in the coming months. Arlen, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Elena. And thank you for leading us to that meditation. I hope that those who were able to attend benefited, and also those who will be viewing this in the future can rewatch it to soften in moments when they feel like they haven't found ease. I just want to quickly provide a reminder. I'm sorry, I feel so soft and
Perfect.
yeah, so much was released in that session. I just want to provide a quick reminder that the next program sessions are going to be focused on climate change and education for future generations, and that will feature on March 2nd. And the biodiversity and rewilding program will feature on March 16th. And we will also have an outdoor event at Homegrown Habitats on March 18th. We will continue to have more information on our website. We will also update the handbook that we previously sent out after Dr. Sarah Ray Jaquette's presentation, and we will include the resources that Elena has brought in to this meeting so that you can all reference those. And Elena, will you have a link for people to tune into the coursework or the workshop that you're going to have around the resource that you just mentioned?
Yes, all we can save. I'll have the study group sometime this spring, and I will make sure to include that in my site, social media, all that stuff. But my site is the best place to go for.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll make a note of that in the handbook as well.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for being here, Karen and Kirsten and Barbara. Thank you so much.